people interested in unmanned robotic systems. So, if you go online, you can check it out. It's something that we hope students will get interested in robotics and go online and check out the RoboNation.
Great. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you for being here and for supporting STEM Night.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Here we are in the Lanai at the Mililani Middle School STEM Night, and this is an exciting table here. Look at this. So girls, tell me, what table is this?
This is the Strawberry DNA Lab.
Strawberry DNA. I didn't know that strawberries had DNA.
Well, we all do.
Yeah.
Because
They're living thing. Every living thing does.
Every living thing has DNA. Well, great. So how you, please explain to us your table.
Okay, so we take a strawberry
And you put it in a plastic Ziploc bag.
and then we start to smush it up.
You like kind of massage it, but don't pop the bag or you're gonna destroy it because you need it inside the bag. So once you finish with that, you're gonna add this. Do you see that little bottle over there?
So we have a. Okay, so tell us what you do. What is your process?
So what? Excuse me. So this is a DNA buffer. So what it is basically is just soap and salt. So what you do is that you add 10 milliliters of this. Into in here, and then what you do is just you smush it up more. And then after you do that, you grab a coffee cup over here. I got it. You got it, Rochelle.
I kind of got it.
So you smush it, right? You mix and smush. Okay. Like a smoothie. Okay.
As our teacher describes it.
We're just copying
Our wonderful teacher that we love, Miss Cahill.
Okay. Then what do we do?
Okay, so what you do is that, so if you want, you can do this. So what you do is that you put this here, and then you add all of this in here.
These contents.
Oh, this is cool.
Yes, it is. Well, I have a question for you guys. Do you think you'll be able to see it?
Yeah, we'll try. Yes.
DNA. So what you want to do is that you just want to like gently push this or stir it so it doesn't, so what you get is this little pink stuff here that's dripping off, because this is where the DNA is. And so until you have enough, you'll start mixing it again, but with alcohol this time, which is over there. And what that will do is that it will take you'll be able to see the DNA better by, because it's going to turn the DNA white, which will be visible for us to see. And then later on, we will just look through a microscope.
Tell me when you're ready.
So you take the DNA, so you're extracting the DNA from the strawberries, and then you're able to visually, what do you do, put it on a Petri dish?
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
And then you put it on the microscope, and it works.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to see this.
Okay. Yes, this is
When we
enough.
like smash up the strawberry, we're like breaking down the cell wall of the plant.
Oh, you're breaking down the cell wall. Okay, great.
The nucleus and the DNA inside the nucleus.
Wonderful.
We pour this in.
So what is that?
This is
alcohol.
Okay.
isopropyl, like rubbing alcohol.
Yep.
And the cool thing is that we're just using regular house things that you use in your house to extract DNA from the strawberry. What you're gonna do is that right here, you won't be able to see it under the camera. So right here on the stick, there is some DNA here. So I'm just gonna try to take it out. Do we got tweezers? Oh, here we go. Could have gave me this earlier.
It's kind of sticky. It's like sticky and it's clear yet white-ish.
Here we go. So this slime right here is the DNA. I'm gonna try to take it out. See, right here is the DNA. It might not be visible enough because I don't know what happened. So what we're gonna do is that these kids right here, they're now using it. No, we need the microscope. So earlier we did it again. So here is more visible DNA. We did this before we did this, probably like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, well, go ahead and put that in, and we'll take a look at that. Let's see if we can get the camera inside.
It's gonna be hard to
It's okay. Let's see if we can do that. This is going to be a historic occasion. We're seeing DNA live. Strawberry DNA live at Mililani Middle School. Oh my gosh, he's got it.
That is the DNA from the strawberry that we just extracted.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. That's a first. Thank you so much, girls. You're just so kind to help us. And now we're here, Mililani Middle School, STEM Night, Illinois. We're here for the Center for Conservation for Research and Training. And the instructor here tonight is Corey Yap.
This is an armored catfish. Can you tell why we call it an armored catfish? What does it feel like? It feels really hard, like plates. Yeah, that's right. What do you think the bottom feels like? You feeling it's hard or soft? Yeah, it's soft, especially around here at its belly. What do you think this eats?
Other fish?
This one does not eat other fish, but it kind of eats algae. Yeah, it's kind of an algae eater. But I'm not saying it won't eat another fish, but its primary food is algae. And that is from the pet store. People throw them into the streams, which is not very good. You guys want to touch this one? This is a smallmouth bass. This is introduced to freshwater streams for recreational fishing. However, it eats a lot of our native species. Do you want to touch it? Does it feel like soft or hard? Kind of soft and slippery. Yeah. If you touch them, make sure you wipe your hands with the hand wipes over there after, okay? Anything else you want to touch? Do you guys see something? The white one? Oh, there, I see it. Let's catch it. Here we go. This is a convict cichlid, but this one is not very striped. This the other striped one here is the same species, but it's just a different color morph. Careful, it might hop when you touch it, okay? What does it feel like? Does it feel like you feel scales? Yeah. So this is another pet store fish that's introduced into streams here in Hawaii. Anything else do you want to see? What about? They're all from the pet store, pretty much all except for the smallmouth bass. That is for fishing. This one, this is just like the same like the big one, but it's a smaller one. Oops, careful. Yes, this one is also an algae-eating armored catfish, but they start out small like this. And that's when people buy them in the pet shop. When they get really big, like the other ones, then they start giving up on them and thinking they should release them into the streams, which is a bad idea. Do not release these into the pet store, into the streams, because they displace our native species, like our native oopu in this tank here. These are our native fishes. They don't do well once these guys are established in our streams, so we have to keep them out if we can.
How do you guys find it?
In this video here, we have a lot of students getting involved trying to catch them. We have big nets, so we help get the students to hold them across the stream, and we have another group that chases them downstream, and we have like big, full nets of fishes afterwards. All the natives go back into the stream, just like these guys, and all the invasives get taken out. And it's kind of a sad story for some students that they wonder what happens to the fish, but they actually are taken to farms to use as compost, and the farmers love it because we're helping them and they're helping us, because it's a big problem to try and find some place for me to put it. It can be gallons, like 15 to 20 gallons of it. So yeah. Yes, it's very good, and they're happy because they have to go to the fish market or the fish auction to pick up a lot of fish guts and stuff, and it saves them a trip to the farmers. So they said us delivering it to them is really nice, and they don't know that it's really nice for me to not have to find some place to put it. Yeah.
Well, that's so kind of you. Thank you so much for being here and teaching the students of conservation.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Young, and we're doing fingerprinting here. I'm from the Honolulu Police Department. I'm a DNA analyst, and my specialty is actually DNA, but in crime scenes, we'll actually lift fingerprints. So we're just demonstrating how we do that.
What material are you using?
This is a magnetic powder.
Share with me about your DNA charts here and what are the benefits here. Share with me how that does.
So in DNA, everybody has their own DNA profile, except identical twins, right? So this is what a DNA profile looks like. Every location has DNA characteristics. And you could see here, let me go down, sorry, can't see it. This is the sex marker. So an XY indicates a male, whereas X indicates female. So if a perpetrator had left their cigarette butt profile here, we can compare it to individuals. If they match, then we can potentially solve the crime.
Simple question, Sergey, but how can you extract DNA from a cigarette butt?
From a, what was that?
How can you extract DNA from that?
Cigarette butts have saliva in it. Saliva is a good source of DNA. Yeah.
So what is the process for extraction of the DNA?
We just use chemical reagents to extract the DNA from the cellular components, and then we use a purification column to isolate the DNA.
Then what is the device you use to give you the result?
It's called a genetic analyzer that produces a DNA profile.
Great.
Yeah.
When you, in your investigation of a crime, how long does the DNA analysis take?
Typically, it takes about a week to complete from start to finish. We also have a quality assurance side to it, so we require that all of our work is reviewed just for that quality aspect, because there's always, somebody possibly going away to jail for the rest of their lives. So it's very important that we have that quality program.
Do you do this analysis here in Honolulu?
We do.
So you have a lab here in Honolulu?
Yes, in Beretania Street.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. That's a great attribute to the community, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hi, we're here at the Mililani Middle School STEM Night. We're excited to share here with Mr. Anzai. He's a science teacher. So Mr. Anzai, please share with us what you're doing here at STEM.
Hi, I usually teach the advanced tech class, and in my advanced tech class, we go over the engineering design process. And to do that, we design bridges, the popsicle stick bridges. And as you can see, we destroyed most of the bridges here. And my yellow 7 student did well, and he did a ratio of, I think it was 600.
That's great. So tell me, you also head up the Science Olympiad here for middle school, right?
Yes.
Share with us about that.
3 years ago, we went into the Science Olympiad, and the last 3 years we came in 5th place. So we did pretty well the last 3 years, and hopefully we continue to do well.
Great. I've heard so much about Science Olympiad. What are the challenges? What are the different projects the kids do?
Oh, they have a lot of activities, hands-on and also studying. Some of the hands-on is the bridge building and the air trajectory. Some of the study events are anatomy and meteorology.
So the students here participate, and they came in, what were they, 5th recently?
Yeah, this past year they got 5th place.
Out of the state or the region?
State.
That's wonderful. That's great. How many students do you have participating in Science Olympiad?
We have about 17 students. But overall, we have about 30 to 35 students. We usually have 2 teams. They go to the regionals. And then after that, we have to have 1 team go to the states, which is about 17 students.
Well, that's great. That's so kind of you. Well, thank you so much for providing your leadership and teaching the students. It's an honor, sir. Thank you. Great, thank you. We're here to interview Mrs. Yoshioka. She is a science teacher here, and we're in the Mililani Middle School 6th grade STEM wheel. So please tell us about this, the work centers here.
So this is the GameStar mechanics that our 6th graders at Mililani Middle School participate in. It's part of our wheel, and they develop their own games. They learn about gamings, and it has them think and cooperate with each other. So I don't know, is that okay?
That's great. How long have you been teaching here?
I've been teaching here since the school opened, so is this our 18th year? This is our 18th year.
That's great. So what exactly do you teach?
I teach language arts and social studies, and then I do the STEM wheel, and that's about it.
But also you're involved in the after-school programs for robotics, is that correct?
Yes, so I do the first Lego League, so that's with the Legos, and then I do the First Tech Challenge, and I also do Science Olympiad. I've been helping out with Science Olympiad.
That is so great. Thank you so much for teaching our students, for providing the leadership here. Thank you, Ms. Yoshioka.
Thank you.
Here we are at the Mililani Middle School STEM exhibit, and this is the VEX Robotics, and this is Zachary. He is a teacher here. So Zach, please tell us about the VEX Robotics.
Sure, this is our first year doing VEX Robotics. We actually went to state championships with 3 teams this year. The cool thing about this robotics is they design and build them all from scratch. So it's all their ideas. It's everything they come up with. All VEX does is give us a game. They say, this is the game. Here's what it looks like. Now build a robot to compete with it. And we did a great job this year. A couple of my guys here. I've got a couple of teams represented.
Tell us what you like best about the robotics.
I get to build robots a lot. You know, I get to use their creativity, which is usually suppressed at school. No. Well, I mean, sometimes, but.
Great. Anthony, what do you like about robotics?
It's fun, and I also got to learn a lot of skills that might help me future in life, because I used to not be a good team. I wasn't really good at teamwork, and through this program I was able to learn lots of teamwork skills, and I've learned how to become a better team worker.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. So these are the VEX Robotics is when they build the robot, and the robot is moving to pre-programmed instructions, which are in the controllers on top, and they use object-oriented programming. So the kids don't have to necessarily code, but they use object-oriented programming, so the programs is self-generating from the objects they selected. Oh, that's great, from the objects they select. Thank you so much for teaching, and thank you for the hands-on demonstration here.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. I love doing this. We hope to have a great year next year. We're starting right away. They're going to announce the next game at the end of this month. So we'll start our next VEX IQ season in May.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here we are at the Mililani Middle School STEM night again, and I have the pleasure of being here with Coach Tyson. Coach Tyson, tell us about your Mililani Middle School robotics team.
So our robotics team participates in FIRST Robotics, so it's a international competition for high school students. It's kind of like the varsity sports for STEM education.
Great. How long have you been doing this?
Whoa. Lost count already. I think 7th year? About my 7th year.
At the Mililani High School. That's great. Thank you so much. Tell us about the robots here.
So the smaller robot that you see there is our First Tech Challenge. It's sort of like the junior varsity for high school robotics, and then the one kind of in the back there is the First Robotics Competition robot, and that's the varsity level competition.
Great. So that's so kind of you to come out here and bring your students to go support the middle school.
Yeah, it's a great chance for them to share what they do, kind of share their passion for learning STEM, and kind of pass along that interest and that excitement.
Great, thank you so much. Let's do a quick, wait guys, whoa. I'm gonna ask you one question, you ready? You ready? Here we go. Okay, the one question is, what do you like about robotics? This is Mililani High School. You guys are the best. You guys, I guess just last weekend, you guys were participating in the 9th regional. So you competed against other high schools and other countries too. I heard you guys did great. Okay, the one question is, who wants to go first? What do you like best about robotics?
Oh, I like the people in it. It's like a good family.
Oh, neat.
I like making friends and hanging out with my friends.
Great.
I like learning new skills and learning more about engineering.
Oh, that's great, learning about engineering. Here, tell me what you most liked about robotics.
Well, I like it because it's a great new experience. Because we have to build this within 6 weeks, and it's quite interesting.
That's a heck of a lot of work. That's great. And what do you like most about robotics?
I think learning about how to communicate well with each other and to being able to work well with others is good to learn.
That's wonderful.
I like how you get to practice doing things that you would be doing like in the real world when you get a real job.
That was great.
I like all the teamwork that's needed in order to get the job done.
Great.
Oh, I went already.
It's a challenge. It teaches you how to handle like different problems.
Oh, great. So it's problem solving, critical thinking. Wonderful.
I like that we get to be able to do real world things, like we get to work with the real tools and all of that, so things that we're going to be able to do in the workforce.
Wonderful. What do you like most about robotics?
I like that we get to, like, each other, that we get to spend time each day building and coming together.
Great.
I enjoy the skills and friends that we develop throughout the season.
That's great. So this robot here, so you guys designed this
Yes.
from scratch?
Yes.
Really? So is this the robot that you used at the 9th Regional last weekend at Stan Sheriff Center?
Yep.
Yes.
So what does this do? You got some big tires here. Tell me briefly about what this does.
So the tires are 10.5-inch wheels. So these tires are 10.5-inch wheels, and they have to get over different defenses, which would be from a 5-inch bump or different rough terrain.
There's a lot. Does it, when it moves, does it respond autonomously, or do you do it remote control?
Both. So the first 15 seconds, it goes autonomously, and in the next 2 minutes, the drivers come up and starts to take control of the robot.
That's great. That's a lot of activity. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for sharing your robot. Thank you. So this is a wrap for Mililani Middle School STEM Night 2016. We're so pleased and honored for everyone that came here. Now they're wrapping things up. Some have left. So I wanted to thank the 61st Brigade Engineering Battalion, the Center for Conservation Research and Training, like the Automotive Department, the Honolulu Police Department, the Scientific Investigation Section. So with the Scientific Investigation Section, they showed us how they apply DNA for analysis in crimes. And we also learned about strawberry DNA from the kids outside. I also like to thank the Maritime Robotics Challenge, and this Robotics Challenge is having the first in Hawaii in December 11th through 18th in Honolulu Harbor, where there's 5 countries competing. UH is heading it up here in Hawaii, and it's going to be a great opportunity for us all to participate in. I'd like to thank the Mililani High School First Robotics Team, Mililani High School Science Olympiad Team, the Mililani Middle School, the 6th grade heel, 6th grade wheel, 7th grade math department, 7th grade wheel, 8th grade wheel. Also the Mililani Middle School Advanced Media Intro to Tech Education, Junior Engineering Expo participants, the Pan Stars Club, the Science Department, the Science Fair participants, the VEX IQ. I would like to thank Monsanto and Oahu Invasive Species Committee and the Waianae Mountain Watershed Partnership. I want to thank everyone, and most of all, Alelo for being here and providing the opportunity to film this great event. Thank you again. Once again, Steve Melendez here at Mililani Middle School, saying thank you so much.
from the windward to the leeward side.
Aloha! Welcome to our program on stroke. My name is Dr. Violet Horvath, and I'm the director of the Pacific Disability Center, John A. Burns School of Medicine, University of Hawaii at Manoa. This program is made possible by the Hawaii Neurotrauma Registry Project. Funding for the Hawaii Neurotrauma Registry Project is provided by the Hawaii State Department of Health, Developmental Disabilities Division, Community Resources Branch. Mahalo to them for their support. So, what is the Hawaii Neurotrauma Registry Project? Well, it's a statewide voluntary registry for residents of any age who have experienced any neurotrauma injury, whether it be a stroke, brain injury or concussion, or a spinal cord injury. During this program, we'll tell you about how stroke affects the people of Hawaii, what are the risk factors for having a stroke, the different types of stroke, stroke symptoms, recovery from stroke, and prevention. There's even a quiz you can take that tests your knowledge about strokes. Well, I took the quiz and got 17 out of 20 right. Take the quiz after watching this program and see if you can beat my score. Now, before we begin, I'd like to introduce our two presenters. Mari Nakamura is project coordinator for the Hawaii Neurotrauma Registry Project, and Sean Cho is a Master of Social Work student at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, Myron B. Thompson School of Social Work. He is currently engaged in a practicum at the Pacific Disability Center. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, stroke is now the 5th leading cause of death in the United States. While the rates are going down, stroke is still a significant issue in terms of the toll it takes on individuals, families, and society. On average, someone has a stroke every 40 seconds, and someone dies from a stroke every 4 minutes. Stroke is a significant cause of disability, especially for those aged 65 and over. In 2010, stroke accounted for $444 billion in healthcare costs, medications, and lost productivity. Did you know in Hawaii, stroke is a leading cause of debilitating disabilities? In 2008 in Hawaii, nearly 3,000 people died from heart attacks and strokes. Heart attacks and strokes are the most common form of cardiovascular disease, or CVD. And there are over 18,000 hospitalizations each year due to CVD, and it accounts for about 22% of all hospital costs in Hawaii. The good news is cardiovascular disease is preventable. A stroke is also known as a brain attack. Just like there are heart attacks, strokes are brain attacks. Now, I'd like to reintroduce the Hawaii Neurotrauma Registry Project Coordinator, Mari Nakamura, who will tell you more about strokes.
Behaviors in stroke. Eating a diet high in fats and sugars is risky. Sitting for long periods of time at a desk job, watching television or videos is another. Muscles that help blood flow to all parts of your body aren't being used. Your body cells aren't receiving enough oxygen and nutrients. Smoking is a third behavior that increases risk by 2 to 4 times. Your body has healthy and unhealthy molecules or free radicals. Free radicals are missing an electron and steal from healthy molecules. Smoking just increases more free radicals in your body. Conditions for stroke. Aging is something you cannot really control. If you are lucky, you get to grow old. According to the Centers on Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, the chances of having a stroke approximately double every 10 years after age 55. CDC statistics for 2011 show that 41.3% of persons aged 65 to 77 sustained strokes. Surprisingly, CDC also reports that 30% of people hospitalized for stroke were under 65. Strokes are happening to people in their 50s, 40s, even 30s and 20s now. Gender is a second condition for stroke. The National Stroke Association reports that 55,000 more women than men will have a stroke this year. Since women live longer, more women experience strokes as they age. CDC reports that women of all ages are also more likely to die from stroke. With age, recovery from stroke becomes more difficult. Pregnancy and birth control use also bring additional stroke risks for women. Ethnicity is a third condition for stroke. According to the National Stroke Association, African Americans have twice the risk and are more likely to die than Caucasians. CDC reports that Hispanics are less at risk than African Americans, but more at risk than Caucasians. American Indians and Native Alaskans are 2.4 times more likely to experience strokes than Caucasians. Asian Americans are 20% more likely to suffer strokes than Caucasians. Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders are 4 times more likely to die from stroke than Hispanics and Caucasians. Risk factors. The biggest risk factor for stroke is high blood pressure, HBP or hypertension. HBP results from the pressure of your blood against vessel walls as the blood flows throughout your body. HBP overstretches and injures the vessels. This leads to scarring that can trap debris, blocking blood flow, or breaks that cause leakage. The second risk factor for stroke is high levels of bad cholesterol. This is a type of sticky fat found in blood. Trans fats, fats that turn solid at room temperature, produce bad cholesterol. Small clumps can stick together and form bigger clumps, blocking blood flow. Your body produces good cholesterol that can remove the bad, scrub vessel walls clean.
Will the recipients of the degree Master of Business Administration please come forward?
Gleison May Lagutan Florita. Ana Lydia Acuna Cesped. Christina Monica Villanueva.
Insulin helps transport glucose to these cells, but if you are diabetic, your body doesn't allow insulin to do its work. Poor blood flow results. High blood pressure or hypertension. High blood pressure.
Sa Ilao Pasi Camacho. Michael Allen Chuck. Karina Ayano Coleman.
Dizziness, even unconsciousness, fatigue, shortness of breath, and injury to your cells can result. The most common type of arrhythmia is atrial fibrillation, or AFib for short. AFib increases the risk of stroke from clotting by 5 times. AFib is responsible for 15 to 20% of strokes by clotting. Stroke is a brain attack. In a stroke, the brain does not get enough oxygen through the blood supply. The result is that brain cells die. According to National Stroke Association, 2 million brain cells die every minute during a stroke. This video gives a good idea of how blood transports the oxygen needed to the brain. This is happening in your brain right now. The heart pumps blood to the brain. Blood carries oxygen needed by brain cells. Blood travels to the brain via the cerebral vessels. Arrow is pointing to the left middle cerebral artery or MCA. Example of cerebral vessels. Arrow is pointing to the left internal carotid artery. The middle cerebral artery supplies the lateral portion of the brain and the deeper structures of the brain, such as the caudate nucleus, putamen, and the internal capsule. The orange in the video shows the left and right caudate nuclei. Now the orange indicates the putamen. These are responsible for pain sensation and movement. Enlarged cross-section of a vessel in the brain. The yellow shows the neuron or brain cell. Arrow is pointing to the red blood cell. Green indicates oxygen. Brain cells need oxygen and nutrients to function and survive. Stroke by clotting, ischemic stroke. The most common type of stroke is by clotting. Blood flow to the brain is blocked by clumps of fat.
Canberra Blackman. Amarie Darlene Brax. Megan Brady. Christopher Carter. Julie L. Cato. Katrina Francis Chung. Nicole Kuuipo Colello. Daniel H. Cordial. Carly Ann Crane. Kasha Tahari Tua Keikai Kuihala Demelo. Kawi Enomoto. Sunny J. Ferreira. Chelsea Napua Fontes.
They also have many TIAs without noticing. Strokes and heart attacks often occur together or one after the other. Hospital records document that you can have more than one stroke or heart attack or a combination of both, sometimes within a short period of time. The normal functioning of both brain and heart depend on regular, consistent blood flow. It makes sense that disruption of blood flow would affect either or both organs. Heart attack versus stroke. In a heart attack, the heart doesn't get enough oxygen and blood. Pain results. The heart muscle dies. In a stroke, the brain doesn't get enough oxygenated blood. Brain cells die. 5 common stroke symptoms. Stroke symptoms occur suddenly. The emphasis is on suddenly. There is no warning. Symptom 1 is numbness or weakness in the face, arms, or legs, especially on one side of the body. Symptom 2 is confusion. You may have trouble speaking or understanding others when spoken to. Symptom 3 is trouble seeing, either in one or both eyes. Double vision is common. Symptom 4 is dizziness, trouble walking, loss of balance, loss of coordination. Symptom 5 is severe headache with no known cause. Stroke symptoms may differ from the 5 most common ones, more so for women. Women can experience pain in their limbs or face. Hiccups. They may feel that something is just not right. It'll be serious enough for them to go to the ER. FAST. The American Stroke Association uses the letters FAST as an easy way to remember what usually happens during a stroke. F stands for face. One side of the face may droop. A stands for arm. The arm on one side may be weak or even immovable. S stands for speech. You may not be able to speak coherently or at all. You may not understand what someone is saying to you. T stands for time. Call 911 immediately. Don't drive yourself to ER. Emergency crews can prep you and save time. Get to a hospital as fast as you can. For a stroke, time is of the essence. Did you know about TPA? TPA stands for Tissue Plasmogen Activator. TPA treatment in Hawaii. TPA is used as a treatment for strokes by clotting. TPA thins clots or unclots. However, treatment needs to be within 3 hours of a stroke. You need to know when the stroke began. You need to take into consideration the time needed to transport to a medical facility. The medical facility must test and evaluate to determine if benefits outweigh the risks. The benefit is that TPA can help 30% of persons with stroke by clotting. The risk is that TPA may increase the risk of hemorrhagic stroke, stroke by breaking or bursting of blood vessels. In Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands Regional Stroke Network can provide access to TPA treatment through telemedicine. Teleconferencing between specialists at Queens and doctors in rural or neighbor islands can help stroke patients without taking time to transport them. Sean Cho will continue with stroke recovery.
Stroke effects and recovery. In this section, we'll go over how stroke affects people, rehabilitation and recovery, going home, and preventing strokes. How stroke affects people. Strokes affect the body, mind, and feelings. Each stroke is different. The effects depend upon the part of the brain that is injured, how bad the injury is, and the person's general health. The first way it affects people is through weakness or paralysis. This weakness or paralysis is on one side of the body. This may affect the whole side or just the arm or the leg. Problems with balance or coordination. These can make it hard for the person to sit, stand, or walk, even if the muscles are strong enough. Problems using language. A person with aphasia may have trouble understanding speech or writing, or the person may understand but may not be able to think of the words to speak or write. A person with dysarthria knows the right words but has trouble saying them clearly. Being unaware or ignoring things on one side of the body. Often the person will not turn to look toward the weaker side or even eat food from the half of the plate on that side. Pain, numbness, or odd sensations. These can make it hard for the person to relax and feel comfortable. Problems with memory, thinking, attention, or learning. A person may have trouble with many mental activities or just a few. For example, the person may have trouble following directions or may not be able to keep track of the date or time. Being unaware of the effects of the stroke. A person may show poor judgment by trying to do things that are unsafe as a result of the stroke. Trouble swallowing. This can make it hard for the person to get enough food. Also, care must sometimes be taken to prevent the person from breathing in food while trying to swallow. Problems with bowel, bladder, and the control. These problems can be helped with the use of portable urinals, bedpans, and other toileting devices. Getting tired very quickly. Becoming tired very quickly may limit the person's participation and performance in a rehabilitation program. Sudden bursts of emotion, such as laughing, crying, or anger. These emotions may indicate that the person needs help, understanding, and support in adjusting to the new effects of the stroke. Depression. This is common in people who have had strokes. It can begin soon after the stroke or many weeks later, and family members often notice it first. Depression after a stroke. It is normal for a stroke survivor to feel sad over the problems caused by the stroke. However, some people experience a major depressive disorder, which should be diagnosed and treated as soon as possible. A person with a major depressive disorder has a number of symptoms nearly every day, all day, for at least 2 weeks. These always include at least one of the following: feeling sad, blue, or down, and having a loss of interest in things that the person used to enjoy. A person may also have other physical or psychological symptoms, including feeling slowed down or restless and unable to sit still, feeling worthless or guilty, increase or decrease in appetite or weight, problems concentrating, thinking, remembering, or making decisions, or trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, having a loss of energy or feeling tired all the time. They may also have headaches, other aches and pains, digestive problems, sexual problems, feeling pessimistic or hopeless, being anxious or worried, and having thoughts of death or suicide. If a stroke survivor has symptoms of depression, especially thoughts of death or suicide, professional help is needed right away.
Eliza Olmedo Solano.
Will the candidates for the degree Master of Education please come forward?
Looking at you. Looking at you and me. Jana Capilio Kalani Burkett. Christian Doyle.
May not be noticed until the person is back home and trying to do something for the first time since the stroke. Rehabilitation helps stroke survivors relearn skills that are lost when part of their brain is damaged. Rehabilitation also teaches survivors new ways of performing tasks to circumvent or compensate for any residual disabilities. Rehabilitative therapy begins in the acute care hospital after the person's overall condition has been stabilized, often within 24 to 48 hours after the stroke. The first steps involve promoting independent movement because many individuals are paralyzed or seriously weakened. Patients are prompted to change positions frequently while lying in bed and to engage in passive or active range of motion exercises to strengthen their stroke-impaired limbs. Depending on many factors, including the extent of the initial injury, patients may progress from sitting up and being moved between the bed and the chair to standing, bearing their own weight and walking, with or without assistance. Beginning to reacquire the ability to carry out these basic activities of daily living represents the first stage in a stroke survivor's return to independence. For some stroke survivors, rehabilitation will be an ongoing process to maintain and refine skills and could involve working with specialists for months or years after the stroke. The process of recovering from a stroke usually includes treatment, spontaneous recovery, rehabilitation, and the return to community living. Because stroke survivors often have complex rehabilitation needs, progress and recovery are different for each person. The first steps include helping the patient survive, preventing another stroke, and taking care of any medical problems. Spontaneous recovery naturally happens most for some people. Soon after the stroke, some abilities that have been lost usually start to come back. This process is quickest during the first few weeks, but it is sometimes continuing for a very long time. Rehabilitation is another part of treatment. It helps a person keep abilities and gain back lost abilities to become more independent. The last stage in stroke recovery begins with a person's return to community living after acute care or rehabilitation. This stage can last for a lifetime as a stroke survivor and family learn to live with the effects of the stroke. This may include doing common tasks in new ways or making up for damage to or limits of one part of the body by greater activity of another. Acute care. What happens during acute care? The main purposes of acute care are to make sure the patient's condition is caused by a stroke and not by some other medical problem. Determine the type of the stroke and how serious it is.
Racer Pono Moody. Nikita Marie Pack. Kasha Samir Patel. Tiffany Wong. Joanna Grace Wright.
Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Forensic Sciences please come forward?
Kerline Berwick Tam. Christian Brandon Concepcion. Amber Kanani Yap Corpus. Carlos Antonio Gutierrez Ayala. Emily Newby Junkins. Nahulumai Kalani Michiaki Kaha Nanui. Whitney A. Kodama. Olina Cassie Young.
Thank you, everyone. And as I had promised you earlier, now is the time for all of us to join in and make one loud, joyful, congratulatory collective noise. Congratulations, Chaminade University, class of spring 2016. The graduates may meet their families and friends in the exhibition hall across the main corridor. The first letters of the family names are posted on the pillars. At this time, I would like to introduce to you Father George Cerniglia, Chaminade University's rector, to conclude our program with the benediction, followed by the singing of our alma mater. The words to Chaminade's alma mater may be found in your program. At the conclusion of our singing, we ask that you be seated and remain seated until all graduates have processed from the arena. For safety purposes, we request that those with disabilities or needing assistance please remain until everyone has exited. You may meet your graduate after the ceremony in the exhibition hall after the procession concludes. Thank you. Please stand for the benediction and the alma mater.
Graduating class of 2016, from all of us gathered here this evening, receive this blessing as you leave Chaminade University and our Chaminade Ohana. May you have the commitment to go into the world being led by the God of hope and imagination, to see the gifts and achievements that the Almighty Creator calls out of you. May you have the courage to live your impossible dreams so that they will become possible. May you also have the courage not to look back because you are confident that God will use you in a mighty way for the purpose to which you are called. As you go forth, put into practice not only the accumulated knowledge you have received, but also the Marianist values you have experienced on our campus. Go forth with your head in the clouds of ambition toward making life better for all as well as for yourself. Go forth with your feet firmly planted on the solid ground, plowed by your family and friends and by all at Chaminade, administrators, professors, staff, regents, governors who have helped you blossom into the person you now are. Go to heights quite beyond your present capabilities as you follow the lead of God, who gives faith, wisdom, understanding, and blessings. Go with gratitude and humility for all you have received at Chaminade. Go with a deep sense